stay with love. I know it sounds so cliche, but I promise you it's what works. I told you that my family member, since I was a kid, was in and out of the jail system because he's just hyper. And he ended up doing drugs that actually helped him to focus. That's a whole other issue. But because getting those drugs put him in precarious situations. Long story, but I worked for 4 years to get my brother off the streets. Brother, there we go. And I was around people that would terrify you. And I remember sitting one day with a drug addict guy that literally looks crazy evil. Like he had crosses all over, all in black, like just this dark, and he had these big giant pupils, and he would just start yelling at things in the air. He was very schizophrenic. And he kept hanging around my brother. He was sort of like attached to him. And then he would just show up and not leave. And it was just really freaky. And this guy was bad news. Even the police came around and said, keep this guy away. So one day he was there, and my brother wouldn't tell him to leave. He would say, dude, you can't be here or whatever, and the guy wouldn't go. But my brother wouldn't make waves. And so one day we were in the RV, there's a little trailer, and parked on the side of the road, and this guy was sitting there, and he looked so evil. I mean, I am very sensitive, and the energies going through him were so intense. And he goes, do I scare you, Dana? And I go, no, you don't. I sent the energy back to him. I'm like, no, you don't. And I actually had rose and frankincense oil, and I just started like doing a clearing. I know this gets crazy, but I just sort of held my ground with him, and he's like, okay, she's not afraid of me. So then another time he was outside, and he was just walking around. He's like, hey, can I come talk to you? And I said, sure. I said, let's sit on the ground. So we sat on the ground where we were, and he starts telling me about all this stuff and all the people talking to him and all the images and all the things. And I said, you know, brother, not my real brother, but brother of humanity, you don't need to, I know you hear all these voices, you don't need to listen to them. There's only one thing that's true, is the ground beneath you right now. Tell me about the rocks. We start talking about the rocks, and he had so many beautiful things to say and memories of nature, and it just shifted him so deeply, and it's like he calmed down. And I just said, you know, the present moment and being here in the earth is what you can believe in. And I saw him again a while later, and he's like, every time he brought up like how much that helped him. Just somebody not resisting him, calling him a freak or anything like that, just sitting with him, listening to what was going on with him, and also pointing out another way. We've got a lot of very disturbed, sick people. A lot, guys. That's what we need to be terrified of, because they're not bad people. They're just so toxic, damaged. You know, they're not getting their needs met on a basic level, and however they ended up there, bad choices or whatever, our society doesn't rehab people. It doesn't say, what's wrong with you? What are your needs? How do we rehab you back into society? And I just want to bring up that Sweden is closing a lot of their jails because they give people what they need. They give them these little mini sort of apartments, and they give them what they need, and they don't treat them like animals like we do. That's what I want to say. We treat these guys like animals, okay? We put them in cells. They ignore them. They drug them. I don't even want... An hour north of here, there's a jail that is so overrun with mental health patients. The jail has become the mental health hospital. And again, I had to help a family member through that system for drugs, okay? But I had to sit in that courtroom and watch. Oh my gosh, I'm totally ranting, but I had to sit in that courtroom and watch these young men, Latino, lots of Latino, white. I don't think there were any black guys. Maybe one. So young and so broken and so scared and so beautiful. And I just remember this one kid, they called his name. He couldn't have been more than 23 years old. And they called him up, Mr. Garcia. I don't know what his last name, but he was Latino and beautiful. And he stood up. First of all, he didn't respond, and they had to nudge him. The lawyer did, and they stood him up. And they said, you realize that you have no rights. You've lost all of your rights, and basically we can continue to administer the appropriate medications to keep you in line, blah, blah, blah. Like, you have no rights. And it's like, do you agree? And he went like this. And then they said, and he just left his hand there. He was just stunned. They said, you can put your hand down. Okay. And he just put... They were injecting this guy with God knows what, just to keep him sedated. And my brother was saying everyone was sedated in there. And so it's like a kennel, and they're animals. And so once they... And trust me, I had to talk to the nurses to try to get real care to my brother. You just don't even know. And the systems are broken, and they're just resentful, apathetic people working in a lot of these places because they're not motivated to do the right thing because they're not treated well, they're not paid well, whatever. They're not accountable. So a lot of people will say, oh, well, they broke the law and they deserve to be there. Yes, I understand that. That's absolutely true. But they need to be treated well, and they need to be rehabbed. They can't be dehydrated. They can't be fed food not fit for humans. It says on one of the packages, not fit for humans. Okay? That's the stuff that's going on. And why should you be concerned about that? They're locked away. You don't have to worry about them. That's why we pay taxes. That's why they're locked away. Why are you concerned? Because they get out. They get out eventually, and they are destroyed human beings that have no ability to take care of themselves. So, guys, we need rehab. These are some of the most intelligent people that see, that are, as I said, like on the spectrum, that see more than most, but they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to fit into society. They're hyper, whatever it is. Guys, we are missing a huge piece of this, and we should be concerned about rehabbing, about gathering around these people that don't fit in a linear society and giving them the love and attention, teaching them how to be on the land, healing their bodies. When the lower groups suffer, we all suffer. We all suffer. You think that you are detached from that? You're not. You're not. That headache, that depression, that's because we're all connected. I don't think I'll ever post this, but felt good to speak.